I'm about to go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it. You know I'm about to get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it. Uncle Luke said, I gotta get it, don't stop. I'm gonna get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. I'm gonna get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. There's so many ways out this bitch to get money. If you ain't talking money, that's the end of discussion. I ain't worried about them hoes. The way I kick it, I got goals. I got goals around my nigga and I stay polo down to the floor. Y'all niggas really some hoes wearing fake designer clothes. Fake ice around they neck. Talking about my jewelry game on froze. Man, that shit they ain't even cold. Man, they really be thinking they cool. Man, you look stupid and look dumb. I'm talking dumb diddy dum dum. I'm on fire, who cooking something? I'ma eat the beat, call me Cookie Monster. Eat all y'all niggas asses up and then the leftovers get ate for lunch. Y'all niggas worrying about the wrong thing. These bars here from the chain gang. Got 2 guns on me, Jesse James. If I pop them off and let it say the rain. Niggas say they looking for some better days. How the hell you looking for some better days when you still riding in the same lane with them same niggas that ain't getting paid? You ain't got no sense, you don't deserve change. You don't even got no money for some change. You need to go make some money for a change. Then you need to sit and think about a change. How you sit and think about a change? I'ma go get smart and get some damn brain. They hop back on the track, damn train. Man had my stripes like a candy cane. I can hit the block with a whole thing. I'm a hustler, I can sell sky rain. Nigga, I can sell 5 flames. I can sell a roll to a top, man. I'm about to go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it. You know I'm about to get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it. Uncle Luke said, I gotta get it, don't stop. I'm gonna get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. Don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. I'm gonna get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. Hey, where you going? I'm running to the money. I want the ones and the 5s and the 10s and the 20s and the 50s and the 100s. Forrest Gump to the money. The main ones laughing, joking, thinking shit funny. I'm laughing straight to the bank. Ha ha, that shit funny. For the love of the money, shawty shaking ass on me. Ooh-wee. She just wanna get paid, okay. Chips right here, Frito-Lay. Shawty doing her damn thing. She got to keep her bills paid. Shake her booty like an earthquake. Shake it like it's your birthday. Pussy poppin', she's a pussy popper. Look at how she make it jump, jump like a grasshopper. For them dollars, I got a lot of damn ones in my pocket. I'ma throw, I'm about to make it rain. On the shawty till she so about to go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it. You know I'm about to get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, go get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it, yeah, get it. Uncle Luke said, I gotta get it, don't stop. I'm gonna get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. Don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop. I'm gonna get it, don't stop. I gotta get it, don't stop.
front you. What you need? Let go. Yeah. I'm really a chef, cook it right out of left. Run up a check till I run out of breath. Point them out, make them live what they rap. Big cap niggas ain't living like that. Do the most, get too close, you a ghost. Dope is a dope, you get more than a dose. Give all that I got till it ain't nothing left. I don't need no help, I could do it myself. I'm really a chef, cook it right out of left. Run up a check till I run out of breath. Point them out, make them live what they rap. Big cap niggas ain't living like that. Do the most, get too close, you a ghost. Dope is a dope, you get more than a dose. Give all that I got till it ain't nothing left. I don't need no help, I could do it myself.
Niggas big cat like a Mexican Fiesta. Dope on the scale, you won't get no extra this way. Make your hoe do what the money say. Tell your old man he don't want it, babe. I just bought a new stick the other day. Cook dope on the stove or microwave. The neighbors don't like the J, they keep calling. I'ma keep serving the dumb and defy the rent. Shit smell like fungus. No Q and I just the city. Keep fuck out my business, I'm just being honest. Keep dealers and killers a mummy. Wrap your ass up like a mummy. Stack that little white hood and dip on her. I feel like OJ, little homie. To the plug, the car, Malone. Send it to the Pope man. Freddie P fly the most, higher than most. Try me, didn't I see a ghost? 93 OG, it came from West Coast. Tie out to your hoe, I just came from a throat. MOBB, OG gang, oh, let's go.
Yeah, go take a seat, get out the kitchen. I'm cooking, keep whipping it. Long as promoters keep booking, I'm running it. You get it all till I'm done. Give it and you on the block, you won't get it. Hell with the skill, got it booming like speakers. I know what I'm doing. Don't need no features, court dates and funerals, commas and numerals. Really, you show cook it up right or left. Working my move, I need more than enough. These niggas bluff, they really not tough. Head first, running up a check till my heart start. 3 point, working on my shot, trying to get hot. Swear to God, promise not to fold, never flip flop. Good smoke.
How we sounding out there? How we sounding out there? What's good? What's good? Salute Mika. Salute Just Jay. Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. Now, it seems like we ain't got a whole bunch of attendance right now, but it's still all good, man. We still gonna go on with the show. We gonna go from where we left off earlier today. So, and if you haven't seen earlier today's show, we reacted to a couple of videos, but the main video that I did want to react to, we haven't gotten to yet, and I think it's pretty, it's a pretty good debate, but we'll eventually get to that. But man, when it comes to this Charlie Kirk thing, man, and it's gotten very messy when you look at it. I mean, shit, seems like everybody is getting censored if you ain't on the right side of this situation. So I know y'all like, Earz, why the fuck is you talking about it then? I don't know. I mean, everybody is talking about it, but you still got to walk a thin line. So I'm going to try to walk a thin line when I do talk about it. I ain't got no disrespect for Charlie Kirk. You know what I'm saying? I just think that, you know, some of his ideas was what he intended them to be. He intended them to attract certain people in a certain demographic, and I think he was like a shock jock, like how Candace Owens is. You know, they don't care if what they're saying is true. You just need to prove them wrong, pretty much. And if you can't prove them wrong, they're just gonna keep, you know, going on and on, pushing their narrative, and that's just how it be. So, man, but the situation is pretty much, man, it's full of controversy. You know, this situation is, it looks like they're putting this guy on such a pedestal where if you say anything that they even feel like is wrong, because what we seen earlier today was Jimmy Kimmel made a joke pretty much connecting the shooter to the MAGA movement. And, you know, he was canceled by the FCC, which is in control of the contracts of all of the networks and everything like that. So if you go back and watch the last video, you would understand the breakdown of that. So we're going to start with a couple of videos that I do want to do a reaction to. And at the end of this live, we're going to react to Piers Morgan and a YouTuber that he invited onto his show because he seen this YouTuber making a lot of troll memes, and it got his attention. And it's like y'all trying to highlight the people who are trolling, you know, the death of the man. Why would you highlight that type of stuff? It would be better just to ignore it, because that's what you tell people to do when it was George Floyd, when it was Trayvon Martin, when it was all of these people that were being ridiculed and made fun of because of whatever the situation was. And when these people did this weird stuff, the answer that you got for that was just ignore it. But that's not the case no more. I mean, because as we can see, and let me pull it up, they're not just going to ignore it, even though our president once said this right here when he got elected.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
That's what the Donald said.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair.
I apologize about that, y'all. I forgot to turn the volume back up on the overall everything. Let's play that again.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents. Something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities.
5 months later, now there's a different tone. You know, they didn't know that, you know, one of their prominent members would, you know, have some white on white crime, be a victim of white on white crime.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
But is it really across the aisle? Is that really across the aisle? Because would she do that to the president of the United States? Because we've seen so many times. What did he say about Hillary? What did he say about his vice president, Mike Pence? Hang Mike Pence. They were trying to hang this man. All the stuff that the people were saying at January 6th. I mean, come on now. We can go on and on about this hate speech. Now, all of a sudden, we're policing so-called hate speech, but only on one side.
I remember when that type of rhetoric was used. It's not banned. It's actually protected by the United States Constitution. The only speech, and it's very, very narrow, that can be banned and is banned is any speech that specifically incites violence that could actually lead to harm against specific individuals.
Yeah, we can all get some examples of that. But we ain't here to get her opinion. I just want to get these clips from this lady here.
This around this country is disgusting. It's despicable. The anti-Semitism.
Basically, doubling down in regard to how hate speech should be banned.
The anti-Semitism. What's been happening at college campuses around this country is disgusting. It's despicable. And we've been fighting that. We've been fighting these universities left and right, and we're not going to stop. Look what happened. Think about Josh Shapiro. They firebombed his house. That's what's happened in this world. And we are going to fight every step of the way to show that you will face the most severe consequences if you come after someone and you target someone for their political views or for any reason at all.
Now, that sounds good on the surface. Now, she just mentioned somebody whose house got firebombed, but she didn't mention the 2 Democrats who were murdered in their own house by, you know, hey, do I have to say? That's the problem. They're not doing it on both sides. I'm an independent. I don't want to see a gang war between politics going on, and I'm in the middle of it.
Do you think Charlie was assassinated because our country can't handle free speech, or because one type of speech is seen as obscene by another political party?
Well, in this case, it was clearly obscene by a political party, an opposing view. Sure, but it doesn't matter. You can't have that hate speech in the world in which we live.
We should be really concerned that the Attorney General of the United States literally just conflated the violent act of trying to burn down Governor Josh Shapiro's home. That was a violent act. She conflated that with hate speech.
Yeah. So look.
Now, I just wanted to highlight what she was saying. The Attorney General, because we know the Attorney General is the highest office of law in the land. So if they want to make some kind of law where what they consider hate speech, you know, only what they consider hate speech. So that means only when you talking shit about them, it's hate speech.
Unfairly, it's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you. Look, we want everything to be fair. It hasn't been fair. And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country. But we're fixing it.
So now let's continue on to some of these videos. I got some great important parts. So in this video right here, we're definitely gonna just learn a little bit more about not only this guy that did this to Charlie Kirk. We're gonna also learn a little bit about, you know, how everybody seemed to be getting punished for their opinion now, including Jimmy Kimmel. But he's just the person on like the big surface. Like I told y'all about the person that lost their job, you know, at my job.
I want to buy your house.
You know, and then it seems like everybody around the country has to be censored now.
Doing coverage now on the
people's feelings.
Shooting death and what some are calling a new era of accountability as it relates to social media posts. That's how one expert describes what we're seeing right now as posts by Mid-State University and city employees result in suspensions and firings. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar in studio with why we likely have not heard the end of such cases.
A social media expert tells me people's outrage online over a controversial Charlie Kirk post played a significant role in the firings and suspensions. He tells me it's a turning point on how quickly we reach accountability. The online backlash against Mid-State University and city employees' social media posts on Charlie Kirk's death ended in their firing or suspension, sometimes within hours. Like the now former MTSU Assistant Dean Laura Lightsey posting this in part, "Zero sympathy." Former Cumberland University professor Michael Rex writing, "On Charlie Kirk, karma is a beautiful expletive." A protest shortly before the firing of Rex and assistant coach Max Wood. A Metro 911 dispatcher posting a shirt in the image of Kirk getting shot saying, "Debate this." She was put on administrative leave the next day. This, as people screenshotted some of the comments and posted them online, calling for their removal, reposted dozens of times by others, including elected officials.
Now, this shows how at least them people on that side, they definitely stick together. You know what I mean? And you can't blame them for moving on action like that, because the left was doing the same thing when people was making fun of George Floyd and making fun of police brutality and making fun and saying racist stuff about Colin Kaepernick. There was a lot of people that would make their jokes and really go in, and sometimes people was losing their job. And of course, that's where you got all this crime that came from, where they're talking about cancel culture. In some cases, though, if you got a certain type of job that has an image behind it, yeah, you should just stay off of social media doing the extra shit. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that.
I feel like a lot of the nation has gotten to the point where they're like, we've gone too far.
Dr. Matt Chalmers, a social media expert, tells me the pressure of the online community contributed to the fallout.
You create this echo chamber because of the way the algorithm works.
Dr. Chalmers added, because of the scope of how social media reacted, it sped up the repercussions for the employees.
So the internet's regulating itself by saying, if you guys now have consequences for your actions.
Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter, now X, increased transparency by becoming less restrictive on posts. Dr. Chalmers tells me that fuels visibility on the calls for consequences.
As we got more freedom, you're going to be held accountable for the things that you say and that you do.
Dr. Chalmers tells me he has never seen accountability at this speed, and both sides should be cautious on making emotional social media posts.
So, the cancel culture is real. Now, would the cancel culture become legal? That's the new question.
It evidently is that there were white people.
Can anything be done to stop?
Will it be something that just becomes something where people are counseling you on a
Stop telling me.
Hold on. Counseling you just for, like he said, that little small joke that he made about President Obama. But before we get into the whole council shit, man, let's get a little bit more detail, because, man, this whole little letter that this dude so-called wrote to his transgender supposed to be boyfriend or girlfriend. We got to get into all the conspiracy theories that's going on around this whole thing, man. I got a lot of videos to go through. We might not get through all of them, but we're going to try to get through as much as possible. So let's break this shit down.
Who allegedly shot Charlie Kirk, a student who went to school with him, is speaking out. His grandma has now spoken out about his political affiliations, the family's political affiliations, and we also are getting more insight into who this person is. And I wanna go into all that, but I'm beside myself from what I just heard this man on Fox News say. Brian Kilmeade just endorsed euthanizing homeless people, and I just want to say that because this happened a couple days ago, and yes, the left has issues. Here it is.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it happen?
It's actually
involuntary lethal injection, or just kill him. I would think that would be considered somewhat. But hey, let's continue on. What was your boy? Have your boy ever did anything you would consider maybe hate speech?
His transgender and anti-fascist ideology on the bullets. Well, they've corrected that now. They said an earlier version of this article detailed how an internal law enforcement bulletin said that ammunition recovered following the Charlie Kirk shooting was engraved with expressions of transgender and anti-fascist ideology. Justice Department officials later urged, I don't know if they did this intentionally. Kash Patel is from that stream, and then by the time Republican. Now I actually have more commentary from neighbors and family. And 12 September 2025 to remove quotes after the
his parents were active in the LDS community. I am very much in shock that this was so close to home. I would think that his family would be very hurt. I have a lot of sympathy for his family right now, his parents and his loved ones, that they have to really be hurting.
Really? I think if it would have been a transgender black person like y'all was saying, y'all would have had a little bit more hatred in your heart. I ain't lying.
I'm glad they got a suspect. Of course, he's innocent until proven guilty. My understanding is a family member gave the big lead that turned him in, so thank you to that family member. It took a lot of courage to do that.
He said he's innocent until proven guilty.
This country should be able to express ideas, and if you disagree with them, that's what discussion's for and debate's for. It's really sad that this country's come to a point where, on one side of the political aisle, if you say something that is disagreed with, you get killed instead of debate and discuss and trying to bring.
We don't know the motives of this. So sorry to that Arizona resident. Was it Arizona resident?
Man, so a lot of people we know all the emotions that went through right after this guy, lost his life. A lot of people losing their jobs. I definitely want to, stroll back on that. Now,
Suspect, which said, drop what you're doing, looking.
Candace Owens has been in this same, bucket right along with everything. So we're going to get a little bit into her too. But when this guy actually had to go to come to court, they start pulling out what they call evidence of text message between him and his transgender supposed to be roommate. Now Candace Owens doesn't believe that she's not buying these text messages. She's not just going along to get along. And hey, I guess I gotta respect that. So, I guess we're gonna go down this rabbit hole about these text messages, but let's see these text messages for ourselves.
Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive in the news. And there's just more and more that we're having to talk about with this. We'll start with updates around his suspected killer, who had his first virtual court appearance yesterday, where you saw him saying his name, standing silently against a wall, and now and then nodding along while wearing a vest designed to prevent self-harm.
What's good, JC Money Man? Yeah, man, we got to make sure we got to break this down a little bit by a little bit, because there's going to be so much coming at us, coming behind this Charlie Kirk situation, that it definitely need to be documented from day one to however long, because this shit might change some laws dealing with the First Amendment. What you can say, who you gotta praise, who you can't criticize. And I mean, it's bad enough that the consequences are people just, not buying your products, or people running these campaigns on you and all that. But if they're going to get to the point where they're going to start making laws and locking people up, we done went a little too far, in my opinion. But like I said, we got to start at the root of what's going on. I mean, we got white on white crime here, and everybody getting punished for having an opinion on white crime. I don't understand it.
And as far as the specific charges against him, those included aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, 2 counts of obstructing justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, and the commission of a violence offense in the presence of a child. And you had prosecutors yesterday confirming, yes, they will be pursuing the death penalty. Also beyond that, we learned more with Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray revealing that it was the suspect's own mother who kicked off the sequence of events.
Now, to be fair, I don't think, I think the death penalty can be used for certain reasons. I don't really like the fact that because somebody take a life, you want to give them the death penalty as far as being the government. I don't believe that a person just killing one person should get the death penalty. I mean, maybe if you tortured somebody or something, yeah, maybe. But I think the death penalty should be reserved for people who kill multiple people, or torture and kill people, or rape and kill people. So I don't think a person should get the death penalty just because they killed somebody that was popular, and that's on both sides, So, not saying I don't believe in the death penalty at all, but not for just killing one person just by shooting them. That shouldn't. The death penalty should be reserved for the most egregious stuff, and they're making. Not saying that the man's death isn't serious. Anybody losing their life is serious, but they're making the man bigger than who he is. They're acting like, oh man, you killed Jesus Christ. Nah, bro, y'all just trying to make this man out to be something that he's really not. Y'all making him out to be something that he's really not. I mean, at the most, he was really a troll. He was a troll that, liked to trigger people. What's good, G-Mama body?
leading to his arrest.
The day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspect shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed.
He then also had Gray at one point claiming that the suspect's mother
explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented.
Gray also said that the mom said that her son had started to date his roommate, who she claimed was a biological male transitioning genders. Gray adding,
this resulted in several discussions with family members.
So they said the young boy got turned out. This is their story now. There's no proof to this. You know, I would have to hear this from the guy himself, the young man himself. So they saying that he got turned out by, you know, his trans former lover, and that's why he wanted to, you know, defend his honor of, you know, sniping out somebody that, you know, was talking trash about. I mean, it's kind of hard to buy all that. I'm just saying.
But especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views.
And then with that, you had Gray pointing to text messages between Robinson and his roommate as a key piece of evidence. You know, we talked about that a little yesterday, but to get into more detail, the roommate allegedly received a text message from the suspect which said, "Drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard." The roommate then apparently did as instructed and found a note that said, "I had the opportunity."
So here's the text message that all of a sudden the FBI got, and I'm gonna slow this down because he's gonna read the text message. I'm glad I don't have to read it. Y'all know me. So let's read this text message. Now, in my opinion, well, I ain't gonna give my opinion before we read the text message, but y'all just tell me what y'all think about the so-called text message that the shooter of Charlie Kirk told his roommate slash transformer roommate or girlfriend, lover, or whatever they want to call it, to left a note up on the keyboard, and this is what the note said. Can't make this shit up. Well, I guess you can.
To take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to, then apparently did as instructed and found a note that said, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." And then after reading that note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" With it appearing that Robinson then responded by saying that he couldn't leave the area because of police activity, also saying that he still had to grab his rifle, which he had stashed nearby. When the roommate asked again whether or not he did it, Robinson replied, I'm sorry," to which the roommate answered, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson then responded, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude that interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down." Right, as far as that crazy old guy that was mentioned, who was briefly detained moments after Kirk was hit, that appears to be 71-year-old George Zinn. And
what's good, Carl Belton? Salute to the tradesman. So, as we know, when it first happened, they had to arrest some old man. I don't know if this was part of the master plan, because this old man, he came out to say he was trying to distract them from the real shooter. And then it came out that this old man turned out to be a pedophile, which is crazy. You know, that he was at this place. I mean, I guess it wasn't no little kids there or nothing like that, but, you know, but he did have some photos in his phone.
According to Utah County Sheriff Michael Smith, Zinn admitted to police that he had yelled that he was the shooter to allow the actual suspect to flee. And according to reports, what he said specifically was, "I shot him, now shoot me." And now he's actually being held on obstruction of justice charges, although separately he's reportedly been charged with possession of child sex abuse material. Also, a key thing to know here is that the sheriff has currently said that there's no evidence that Zinn was actually working with the shooter in any way. Apparently, this guy's like well known among organizers of public events in Salt Lake City, with, for example, the New York Times reporting he showed up frequently to public forums with the intention to disrupt the event or question a high-profile speaker. But then, going back to the text messages,
He might be one of those paid dudes that they be saying, those paid actors.
He reportedly also had the roommate asking why he did it, to which he replied, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." With the suspect then saying that he had been planning to do this for a bit over a week and that the messages engraved on the casings from the rifle were mostly a big meme. It's saying if I see notices bulge ooh on Fox News, I might have a stroke, and then telling the roommate to delete this exchange before saying that he turned himself in willingly, with his last message saying, "You are all I worry about, love. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent." Right now, what we've seen since that's been said.
Now, that's the final, and to be honest, that might be like the main evidence that's in this case. I mean, because the rifle that they got, they didn't get the rifle off of him. They didn't catch him right after the act, so it ain't like they could have ballistic tests, like fingerprint. I mean, you know, from the gun. The fingerprints that they're gonna try to lift off of the gun. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, the picture, even from the pictures that the still shots that they were getting, they don't look the same. They don't look the same.
And report.
So, like, there's a good chance that he might beat this case if he just shut up, don't admit it. Because that's what they want him to do, just admit his guilt. Because they know he might beat this shit. Then what they gonna do?
It is just so many theories swirling around online, basically claiming that the messages don't sound like a real conversation between two young people. Or there are people saying that it just too conveniently lays out everything that authorities need to make a case. You're even seeing some suggesting that the messages were written by the FBI. So then at the same time, you have others arguing that the suspect and his roommate might have staged this conversation to provide an alibi for the roommate. There were those in this camp suggesting that the roommate was actually involved or knew.
I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. Chat GPT bullshit. And the FBI just, let me shut up. I don't want to get in trouble.
About the plan beforehand. And that being tied into the effort that we're seeing from some to use this against the transgender community. Right. And then in addition to all of that is the Israel of it all. Because one of the big theories is that Israel is involved or somehow behind Kirk's death. You also have people like...
Now we're going to dig a little bit into that. Yeah, man, the conspiracy theories are running wild, people. They are running wild.
Longtime friend to Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, at the very least looking to counter the public narratives around Charlie Kirk having the best relationship with Israeli or Jewish leadership.
The truth is that Charlie was under immense pressure, and he was facing financial threats over his shifting stance on Israel, over who he was hosting, from his podcast to people that were on stage at America Fest, Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson. That is reality, my friends. Again, I want those people to know your money means nothing to me. I already said no to it.
And it's really expanded from there. Tucker Carlson saying that Charlie Kirk revealed to him that he really didn't like Bibi Netanyahu.
He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza.
And then also,
I mean, how can he not? And like I say, I kind of stay away from that. But from the things that I've seen, yeah, you should be. But, you know, he'll definitely act like he's in favor of that type of stuff. But if he started backpedaling, hey, I'm just saying.
So at one point, Tucker talked about the alleged pressure that Kirk was under around Israel before his assassination.
He was dependent to a great extent on his donors, of course. It's a nonprofit. And they went after him and tormented him. Not all, of course. Many were supportive. But the ones who were offended by my speech, and there was a small, very intense group who were, tormented Charlie Kirk until the day he died. 2 days before he died, he lost a $2 million donation because he had publicly pledged to bring me to the next Turning Point conference in December. And he told me over the past couple of months he was losing a lot of donations over that pledge. They put out a flyer basically saying,
he lost a $2 million donation because of this motherfucker? Oh, and he was losing multiple ones. Because, you know, Tucker Carlson, he's been kind of, on both sides of the fence lately since he's not on Fox News no more. He don't really have to, You don't really have to do the dance no more.
That I was going to be at this event giving a speech. And so he would text me and say, man, I'm really taking a lot of heat for this, and people are really mad. The American Jewish Committee called in a statement Charlie Kirk an anti-Semite and, quote, dangerous. Charlie Kirk, an anti-Semite. He was not an anti-Semite.
Though then at the same time, you had people like Senator Ted Cruz tweeting, I'm getting really tired of Tucker and his cronies falsely claiming Charlie agreed with me that Israel is terrible and the problem in America is all the damn Jews, saying I knew Charlie well, and indeed the very last conversation we had was how deeply concerned he was about the rising toxic wave of anti-Semitism on the right. But that is also just a small taste of what's been happening on that front. But at the same time, while that appears to have been happening organically, you're also seeing reports that pro-Iranian groups have been pushing the conspiracy as well, with a number of people saying this is just one of the ways that foreign powers maybe spreading disinformation about Kirk's killing in order to sow even further division in the United States. Right
now, if that was their plan, they're doing a damn good job. But see, when it comes to, you know, back to this whole free speech thing, right? See, in America, we get to just say whatever the fuck we want to on a lot of occasions, and they do not all the time consider it as hate speech. Now, Candace Owens, right now, she's in court right now because of how much propaganda she likes to, you know, throw out on other people when it comes to, she's been banging on a drum that the president of France's wife is a man. And she's been going through court about this and, you know, all this stuff. Like, just people could just say whatever the fuck they want to, as long as it's about the right person at the end of the day. So there's a debate that I do want to do the reaction to. So let me get to it real quick.
It is a one-stop shop.
Let me get to this debate. Now, before I get to this debate, I definitely want to go over a couple of videos of Charlie Kirk with his own words. That way, when this person has this debate with Piers Morgan, we'll understand what he's debating from, where he's coming from.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year.
This is not going to end well. Charlie Kirk is dead. He was shot yesterday.
And that beast has now turned into an described very, very
to be tactless. This is a man who called Martin Luther King awful and not a good person, stating that the passage of the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake.
We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. And the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
He sowed division where...
Now, that's all I'm going to play out of that video. But that was very powerful. And that's something that pisses off a lot of black people. You know, that's why a lot of black people can't really, because y'all know how we feel about Martin Luther King. Come on, man.
It is a vast domestic terror movement.
The conservative commentators and politicians quickly start to galvanize around one single idea. These people, they killed him. They are coming to get us. So is any of that true? And can anything be done to stop America's endless cycle of escalation in political violence? I'm Matt Bevan, and this is If You're Listening.
Now, I found this video right here, and this video is very eye-opening. So I want to share this video with y'all, and I want to kind of do a reaction to it. So y'all, enjoy.
I want to start in 1968 on a freezing cold night in Indiana.
They don't run Martin Luther King. Could you lower those signs, please?
Robert F. Kennedy Sr. was climbing up onto the back of a flatbed truck. To protect him from the wind, he was wearing a coat that had once belonged to his big brother, President John F. Kennedy.
I have some very sad news for all of you.
In front of him was a crowd of mostly black voters, eager to hear what the young presidential candidate had to say. But Bobby Kennedy knew something the crowd did not. Hours earlier,
Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
Bobby Kennedy was an ally of Martin Luther King Jr. in the campaign for civil rights. His campaign staff and the local mayor in Indianapolis encouraged Kennedy to cancel this event. Political violence was endemic across America at the time, and they feared that the wrong words could lead to a riot. But Kennedy refused, and on the back of that flatbed truck, delivered a speech that he'd scrawled down on his way to the event.
Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort.
He acknowledged that he understood that this news could lead to more violence.
For those of you who are black, considering the evidence evidently is that there were white people who were responsible, you can be filled with bitterness and with hatred and a desire for revenge. We can move in that direction as a country, in greater polarization, black people amongst blacks and white amongst whites, filled with hatred toward one another.
Kennedy expressed a level of empathy that few politicians can manage.
Yeah, they don't do this type of empathy. Well, when they do now, people are like, man, you ain't mean that shit. You don't mean that. Nobody don't believe it no more. But, I mean, at least he made the effort.
For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and mistrust of the injustice of such an act against all white people.
It kind of feel like they're bamboozling us, though, man. When you look back at it, kind of feel like, hey, man, I wish a nigga would. I'm telling y'all, stand down. That's kind of what it feel like he was saying.
I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man.
White on white violence.
But we have to make an effort in the United States. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times.
He quoted the ancient Greek poet Aeschylus.
He once wrote, even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart until in our own day despair.
Boy, those Kennedys was good at rocking that nigga to sleep. Boy, he rocked that crowd right on to sleep, y'all, after they took out Martin Luther King. That's amazing. Because the evidence is out now that the government was a part of that. You ain't gonna tell me that some of them knew and some of them didn't. I don't believe it.
Against our will comes wisdom through the awful grace of God.
There was no violence in Indianapolis that night.
Say a prayer for family Martin Luther King, that's true. But more importantly, to say a prayer for our own country, which all of us love.
Keep all that in mind when we jump forward to the evening of the 13th of July, 2024.
Hello, Butler, and hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back.
Okay, everybody, I did not anticipate to be streaming or going live right now, but oh my goodness, we have never lived through a moment like this.
Charlie Kirk was going live on the internet just after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. But Kirk wasn't planning to call for calm.
The Democrat Party is a disgusting stain on this country. And they have talked about calling Trump a dictator, calling Trump Hitler, hoping that he dies, hoping that he gets assassinated. They have been hoping for this the entire time.
For Kirk, the Democratic Party was to blame.
Now, hearing that type of talk, would that could be considered political hate speech? Or I'm just asking. Because if somebody was doing that right now, you know.
For the shooting.
They tried to silence him, they tried to jail him, and now they've tried to kill him. This is what they've wanted. They have been wanting to create the preconditions for the assassination and the death of Donald Trump for quite some time.
Now, when that lady did that, that was totally out of line. See, shit like that is weird. Why would you do stuff like that? On either side.
Sometime.
There's that language again.
And guess what? They canceled the shit out of her. You ain't heard a fucking thing from her since. I think last time I seen her, she looked like she was like a skeleton. Well, she already looked like a skeleton, but y'all get what I'm saying. They exiled her.
They are trying to get us. And Charlie Kirk is saying it before he knew who the shooter was. It was an enormously tense moment. Kirk was right in saying that some left-wing people had been calling Trump a dictator and Hitler, and some had been hoping for his death. Of course, the entire Democratic Party wasn't calling for it, but it only takes one person with one gun to do something like this. So what was the actual motive of the shooter? We published an episode about the assassination attempt in Butler a few days after it happened. The thesis of that episode was that a history of government secrecy has primed Americans to reach for conspiracy theories when something shocking and inexplicable happens.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Since the publication of that episode, a lot of new information has come out about that shooting. So let's run through what we now know about what happened.
Hello, my name is Thomas Crooks, and it has always been my passion to create and build things of my own.
Ain't no damn way this the shooter of Donald Trump, y'all. Man, come on, bro. They got to be framing these little kids. This the nigga that slid on Trump.
Thomas Crooks was a nerdy and awkward guy who lived a fairly isolated life. His parents said he had few friends, no girlfriends, and mostly kept to himself.
Today, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and my academic goals, my passion for building things, my love of cooking with my family, and lastly, what I hope to achieve in this course.
His family was politically diverse. His dad was a gun-loving Trump supporter and his mother was a Democrat. Thomas once donated $15 to a left-wing organisation in 2021, but then registered as a Republican when he turned 18 later that year. But by and large, Thomas's own political activity didn't really align with partisan politics.
Thomas Crooks.
His opinions seemed to be pretty varied. Here's what the FBI found when they dug into what they believed was his internet history.
The social media account, which is believed to be associated with the shooter. Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature.
So he sounded like a Republican. Pretty much. I'm just saying.
2023, though, Thomas had written an essay in favour of ranked choice voting, like we have in Australia, saying it would promote kindness and cooperation instead of division and anger. He, like his father, was an avid gun enthusiast. His dad said that he thought Thomas's mental health had declined after he graduated from his engineering science degree with high honours in May 2024. In fact, unbeknownst to his dad, Thomas had spent months secretly buying up chemicals to create homemade explosives and searching up information on both Republican and Democratic Party events.
On July 3rd, the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania.
So he ain't like neither one of them equally. Hey.
Was announced. On July 6th, the shooter registered to attend the rally and performed a search for, quote, how far was Oswald from Kennedy?
It was 81 metres, by the way, though Kennedy was in a moving car.
On July 7th, the shooter traveled from his home to the Butler Farm Show grounds and remained there for approximately 20 minutes. We assess this shows advanced planning and reconnaissance on his part.
During his visit, he looked specifically at a site within close range of where Trump would be speaking, the AGR International Building next to the showgrounds. He visited the site again on the morning of Trump's event after purchasing a ladder.
Shortly thereafter, at approximately 3:51 p.m., the shooter flew a drone approximately 200 yards from the farm show grounds for about 11 minutes.
Over the following 2 hours, Thomas wandered around the site, repeatedly catching the eye of law enforcement, who notified each other of his presence and took pictures of him.
Approximately 25 minutes prior to the shooting, the U.S. Secret Service command post was notified of a suspicious person. Officers lost sight of the subject from approximately 6:02 p.m. to 6:08 p.m., but continued to communicate with each other in an attempt to locate him.
In that 6-minute window, Trump took to the stage, and Thomas Crooks climbed up onto the roof of the AGR building, taking a position about 135 metres from the former president's lectern. The Secret Service team was stationed inside the building that he was on top of, and so they were unable to see him.
And at approximately 6:08 p.m., the subject was observed on the roof by local law enforcement.
At 6:09, a local police officer turns on his body camera and begins trying to see onto the roof.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
At approximately 6:11 p.m., a local police officer was lifted to the roof by another officer, saw the shooter, and radioed that he was armed with, quote, a long gun.
In fact, Thomas saw that officer climbing onto the roof and turned around to point his gun at him. The officer dropped to the ground, injuring his ankle. He hobbled around the side of the building to try and get a clear look at Thomas.
Within approximately the next 30 seconds, the shots were fired.
He's going down! If you want to really see something to say, take a look at what happened.
8 bullets flew right over the officer's head, hitting Donald Trump in the ear and killing former firefighter Corey Comprator.
Now, we know all the details of that. But like I say,
A mixture of luck and incompetence by the Secret Service. So there really isn't all that much of a mystery here. And yet here's what Charlie Kirk said just a few minutes after the shooting.
They have been calling it for some time of they want Donald Trump dead, they want all this dead. Look, we all get death threats. I get death threats every single day.
For Charlie Kirk, this assassination attempt was the result of Democratic Party rhetoric.
One of these people made good on one of those death threats. Tried to today.
For fellow podcaster Dan Bongino, there was a conspiracy afoot.
You're telling me I'm supposed to accept just at face value that, yeah, the guy was just a lone gunman, 20-year-old kid with no digital footprint whatsoever, none.
By the way, Dan Bongino is the deputy director of the FBI these days.
You've got this enormously important...
Talking about DEI. I mean, so if you go from right here to just talking about things from, outside perspective, no experience in the government, and then just because you speak in favor of somebody every day, draw up a crowd, now you literally got one of the highest positions of law enforcement in the country, and you got people talking about people are getting hired because of their color, but you got people that's getting hired because of, they call this merit. Yeah, okay.
case where President Trump was shot in the head, a guy was murdered, 2 others were shot, and nobody can explain where the body went, why it was cremated?
By that stage, quite a few of those questions had already been answered. His body was cremated 10 days after the shooting, as per request of the family. What exactly were you expecting to find on the shooter's body, though? A Die Republicans Die tattoo on his chest, like Sideshow Bob?
That's German for the Bart. The.
Meanwhile, Bongino's now boss, Kash Patel, told Charlie Kirk that you can't trust anything the FBI tells you anyway.
Can we trust the FBI to investigate President Trump getting shot?
No, absolutely not.
Why? Well, conservative commentator Julie Kelly thinks they were involved.
There is no doubt in my mind that Thomas Crooks was in communications with probably an FBI informant, undercover agent, or an asset from another department, including DHS.
Everyone was getting on board Dan Bongino's conspiracy train. And Julie Kelly was convinced that this was an FBI operation gone wrong.
It has all the hallmarks of another setup.
Another setup. Any political violence must be either the result of left-wing rhetoric or a deep state conspiracy.
Now, that's wild. And we ain't gonna, we'll come back to that on another occasion. But I just wanted to highlight just, how those type of situations was handled, the type of rhetoric that was, followed by that type of stuff like that, and, people act like, this is something new. But even Trump himself.
Do not pay your next car.
Just seemed very insensitive about the man's death. So when they're sitting here talking about how, they want to censor people, especially when they censored Jimmy Kimmel, wouldn't you think that something like what Trump is about to say is just as insensitive?
Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been...
What? Charlie said, there's no such thing as hate speech.
Charlie Kirk's not saying that now.
Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been...
Imagine this. Imagine this. If Jimmy Kimmel, instead of saying that they're trying to score political points using the death of Charlie Kirk as a weapon, that's paraphrasing what he said. But instead of saying that, the thing he actually said, what if he had said, Charlie Kirk might not be saying that now?
Yeah, that wouldn't be too good for him right now if he did do that. So, before we get into this Piers Morgan reaction of this video, I can go probably all night showing the disrespect that they have been putting on this man, and I guess it's become to a boiling point because, like I showed y'all earlier, they're talking about making laws around hate speech. But everything that's been said is not hate speech. It's criticism. Sometimes it's a little tacky. But it's nowhere near the type of, shit that these folks talk. Now, you know how the internet is. The internet is undefeated. They done went back and found a old video from 2016 of before Charlie Kirk got, his position. And he got his position from being this type of person. We all done went to high school with this type of dude here.
Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks.
Charlie Kirk has been all over the news this week. Seeing his face so many times reminded me of some old footage I had. It turns out back in 2016, I filmed him outside the Republican National Convention. This is the interaction we had.
If you're thirsty and you're hungry, free food, free water.
Not free for every man.
Free food, free water. Anyone want free food or water away
There must be a Bernie supporter somewhere.
Socialism right there, buddy. Free water.
He's donating it on his own.
Of course, they were trying to attack Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders is a huge threat to the MAGA movement. You don't want people to, man, stop.
Someone else paid for that water bottle.
You get voluntarily, so.
I'm just
The
fucking
government
with you,
sucks. There's no free lunch. There's no free lunch. Economics 101.
That's your corporation, right? It's a nonprofit called Turning Point USA.
There's no free lunch. There's no free lunch.
So can I ask one of you fellas what?
Turning Point USA, which is being funded by all the mega rich big wigs, racist motherfuckers you can think of, in my opinion.
Is your
same motherfuckers that push Candace Owens. Whatever they want to lie about, whatever movement they want to do, hey, they do it. Not some shit they tell the truth about. Some shit they exaggerate about. Some shit just be flat out lies. Just got to keep it real. I ain't mad at the players. Got to be mad at the game.
your ideal situation then for
Constitution, more freedom. We're far from it now. Let's get back to a restoration of individual liberty and states' rights. More like Texas, less like California.
So you have more of a libertarian viewpoint?
Libertarian, conservative,
Free markets,
freedom. Be in control of your own life and your own destiny. I don't want Washington, D.C. to tell me how to live my life.
All right, so can I ask you though?
Well, I can't tell because it seemed like shit. Now that they're in power, because this was 2016, now that they're in power, the government's telling us how to live our life. What you can say. What you can't say.
To get out of
what would you
our
recommend say,
lives.
for like environmental issues where like
Property rights.
a corporation would
Property rights. If it's public land, they're free to protect it.
Yeah, I think states care more about their public rivers than a Washington, D.C. bureaucrat. I think the Montana State Wildlife Service will take care of their glacier parks a lot better than Washington, D.C. ever could. Absolutely. I think states' rights matter, and I think Washington, D.C. is full of corruption, bureaucrats, waste, inefficiency. And look,
I wouldn't go that far, but I do agree with him on these points that he's making. I agree with him on these points that he's making. I think states care more about their self than the government can ever do. But at the same time, when these natural disasters happen, states are going to be begging the federal government for help. So, hey, you can't only help states that you favor for one reason or another. That's the problem here.
I think states created the federal government did not create the states. And the beauty of individual liberty is if you decentralize the federal government, you can restore freedom back to the people, not have government rule our lives every day.
Now that sounds very similar to Gary Johnson's platform.
Similar. It sounds similar to the Constitution, too.
Do you mind if I ask you, who you might be supporting for this election?
Yeah, I will. It's a binary choice. I think we got to save the Supreme Court. I personally, not the organization, I'll be voting for Donald Trump.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. Socialism sucks. All right. Big government sucks. Big government sucks. Big government sucks. Big government sucks. Big government sucks.
If you enjoyed this video.
So this is a video. I just wanted to make sure I had a video where I agreed with Charlie Kirk. On that point right there. You get what I'm saying? But, you know, of course, there's a lot of videos I'm not going to agree with. But let's get into this Piers Morgan reaction real quick. And I'm going to play his reaction to his to the Piers Morgan video, because he's going to make some very important points about why he made certain remarks to certain women that's in this video, because they're gonna play victim when I show the video. So
I look forward to you joining us at our next.
He was, you know, somewhat trolling them in some type of fashion.
Oh my goodness! So I just
shout out to Piers Morgan. This is I mean, not Piers Morgan. Shout out to the amazing Lucas, man. If y'all want to check out his channel, I'm going to leave it in the chat. I don't know I think he might be a Democrat. I don't know. I'm not a Democrat, but when you're right, you're right. You know what I mean? So he went up there to fight the battle that he believed in. So I just felt like it was a good debate, you know, a good intelligent debate. Well, he out intellect his opponent. I guess that's how you would say that.
I just wanted to do this video to do a recap of the Piers Morgan debate, because I know that some of you may have not seen it, or others don't have the time to, you know, watch the entire thing. So I just want to give little highlights, little snippets of debate and what I was thinking. So first thing first, I knew this was going to be a setup. And the reason why I knew it was going to be a setup, because I found out who was going to be on the panel. They told me that, hey, it was going to be 2 women and 2 men. I didn't know of anything of the Shapiro dude. I looked him up. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he goes in hard. Never have I seen on the Piers Morgan show where it's been 2 women versus 2 men. So I was like, got you. They're going to try and paint me like the boogeyman. Okay, fine. Sure enough, I'm expecting that. I don't know if you guys happen to know this. They wanted to get me on the show for the Ukrainian chick who was, you know, taken away from the world by the schizophrenic black man. That's what they wanted to get me on the first time. I didn't catch the email in time. I was like, my bad. You know, shoot me up, you know, next time if you want to work with me. So they hit me up with this. I was like, bet, let's do this.
So obviously, Piers Morgan, he goes around searching for trolls, for people who are controversial or in things of that nature, to try to bring him on their show, to try to clout chase, to try to steer the pot.
One thing I will say, I wasn't expecting it to be 3-on-1, because that's what it was. If you notice throughout the debate, what would happen is that Piers Morgan, whenever one of the women was getting filleted, Piers Morgan would step in. And he would go and put on his cape and da-da-da-da. What I also wasn't expecting was Piers Morgan to be so bad faith in his questioning, because he kept on trying to get a gotcha from me. He kept on trying to get a piece where he could make me look like just an evil black guy, right? Because that's what they want to view, you know, black people. Black people are the bad people. That's why you have, what's her name? Megyn Kelly, I believe that's her name. The man-looking woman. Damn. Megyn Kelly talking about Obama, right?
Now, I'm going to go over a video from Megyn Kelly, probably at the end of this video, where Megyn Kelly feels like her life is in danger because of a conspiracy theory that she's releasing about Charlie Kirk. We might get into that video tonight.
Right? They trying to bring the black people. Oh, it's trans issues, a trans issue. Well, it's like, well, how about we talk about the white youth? And that's a quote that I'm really happy about. If he had spent a modicum of his time focusing on the white youth, that perhaps he would still be with us today. Message. Where I was like, hey, if Charlie Kirk had not spent his time so much, you know, talking about black culture and, you know, gun violence, and spent some of that, a modicum of his time in the white youth, perhaps he would be here today.
Damn. But I'm ready to see it. I know y'all ready to see this shit now. Because he said that to them white folks. Yeah. They ain't like that. This nigga about to get cancer for real.
Silence. Nobody said anything. And you'll see that's a reoccurring theme throughout the debate. Whenever he tries to get me with a gotcha, I smack it down, get that ish out of here. They don't say anything, right? Because after I said that, he doesn't follow up. He doesn't follow up with a question. He doesn't comment on what I said. He just then tries to go for, well, how does it make you feel? Matter of fact, I would argue that if Charlie Kirk, instead of focusing his time on black culture and black on black crime, if he had spent a modicum of his time focusing on the white youth, that perhaps he would still be with us today.
Are you pleased he's dead?
What? Just foolishness. Nothing but leading questions, nothing more than emotional terrorism. That's what he's attempting to do. And trying to get me to slip up to make me look like some evil boogeyman who just wants to, get them all, I'm glad. No. One thing that they did throughout the debate was try to conflate people's feelings with how Charlie Kirk passed. And I think I should have stressed that point a little harder, because you can be elated about Charlie Kirk no longer being on this planet, okay? But also disagree with the way that he was taken from this planet. Those are two very different things, all right? You can disagree with the violence, but also be glad that he's not here. That feeling of happiness, of pleasure, of a person who caused harm, who caused terror to multiple communities, who was a complete bigot, anti-black racist, a litany of things, spreading misinformation, that you can be happy that person is no longer on the planet. And I say that because if he had died of old age, say he had died at 82 or something, people would still be praising that finally he's no longer on the planet, okay? Without the political violence. You can be happy he's not here, but also be like, yeah, I don't think this is the way to get this person off of here, okay, off the planet. Those two beliefs can coexist. And one thing that I have no problem with is standing on 10. Because what they expected, I want people to understand, they expected me to get on there and start being Stephen from Django. That's what they wanted. They wanted me to go, you know who was? I used to think Charlie Kirk was a good person. And you know what? I didn't mean to say them posts, you know. I didn't mean to do that. I'll delete them right now. You want me to delete them? I'm sorry. And that's
So what he did, though, what he was doing was he was trolling Charlie Kirk about as bad as anybody can troll the Charlie Kirk fan base. You know, the far right. He was putting up those posts that, the same type of posts that they was putting about George Floyd and all of and Trayvon Martin and, you know, all that stuff. He fed them back with their own medicine when it came to Charlie Kirk. And that's why Piers Morgan noticed him. Because they need somebody to, oh man, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing to us. They're celebrating his death. So this was a person that I guess you might can say he's celebrating his death. I guess you could say that. I don't agree with it, but I understand.
That's not what they got.
Django isn't a slave. Django is a free man, you understand?
They got Django, okay? The D is silent. That's what happened. And they didn't like that. And you can see from the reaction and the responses that they were unprepared for such a Negro to be on the podcast. Apparently they didn't do their due diligence, but I sure as hell did mine, okay? I don't know what to tell you, because they were very much shocked. You can look at them. There was multiple times throughout the debate that they were just stoned, what is...
I ain't gonna lie. When I watched this debate, he did do, you know, he had the white folks in there fucked up. He fucked them up. They wasn't prepared to, they wasn't ready. He fucked them up.
That question didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, because they don't like being called hypocrites. They don't like, and I said this in the debate, I was like, yo, I'm a mirror. If you don't like what you see, then change yourself, all right? It's as simple as that, then change yourself. I just want all the racists out there who are gnashing their teeth right now, they mean, and all you little freaking death threats that you've been sending me. Let me just tell you something. We got 10 years of Charlie Kirk memes. I just want to let you all know, we got 10 whole years of Charlie Kirk memes. That's correct. Them memes aren't going anywhere, bruh.
I think the point that I'm making by the memes that I'm putting out, which clearly has caused outrage and triggering, I find it a bit hypocritical that the people for years who said fuck your feelings are now overwhelmed with feelings at the moment.
And I want you to understand how deceitful Piers was. Because Piers showed up all these memes, right? You want to know what meme that he skipped on my profile? The meme that actually proved my point. That's the meme that he skipped. I'm going to show you. And it's a meme of showing that the MAGAs were laughing at the Trayvon challenge. They were laughing at the George Floyd challenge. But when it came to Charlie Kirk and people were saying, we don't care, then they were like screaming and crying. He didn't show that meme on the show. Didn't show that meme. And I blanked. I forgot that I had that meme up there. But that's why. Because he's trying to paint a picture of a big, black, bad boogeyman. That's what he's trying to do.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Now when I interject, and I was told, mind you, yeah, Lucas, feel free to interject, all right? I just want to let you know, there's no taking turns. Just feel free to interject. I was like, all right, I'll do that. When I do that, what do they do? Oh, my God, you're talking over them. Oh, my God. What do? They play the victim.
Of course. You know, yeah, you got to know how them people do. Oh, we can't talk. Oh, you got to stop talking over me.
That's what they did throughout this entire debate. Played the victim. Tried to make me the boogeyman. I just wasn't having it.
You can't treat him like any of the other niggas around here because he ain't like any of the other niggas around here. You got it?
When it came to Jillian Michaels, I would say it's a highlight. Jillian Michaels, I very much remember Jillian Michaels downplaying slavery. That's what she did. And I don't know what it is, but you can call me ghostwriter. You can't put me in a room with evil and expect me not to go off.
Please get me out of here.
You're not going to put me on a panel with a woman I know who downplayed slavery, heard her on CNN with Abby Phillips, and expect me not to call her out. That's not how this is going to work. But they've grown so accustomed to not being called out that when someone does call them out, they don't know what to do.
So I'm letting him explain this because when we listen to the video and you hear the lady come on there and she's trying to talk all civilized and shit, and you hear him kind of snap on her, you'll know why, you know, because he already know who some of these people are, and, you know, he put them in their place, and yeah, they're going to act appalled.
You see how flustered she got? Well, you know the census. Girl, don't tell me about any census.
I don't think I need any litigation from a woman who tried to downplay slavery, who tried to all lives matter slavery after she purchased a black child. That's what I would argue. I don't think you need to litigate anything.
Discuss it?
Okay.
Damn.
What you
wrong.
cited was inaccurate. You can actually look it up. I don't know if you did. I doubt you do your due diligence. You clearly did not,
Would you
because
like to
in that
discuss
study
it?
that you're citing, in the study that I'm discussing it right now, in the study that you're citing, it takes into account not only the slaves, it takes into account the northern states and the southern states. So to try and implement or to say this all lives matter when it comes to slavery, which is abhorrent and in extreme contradiction to American history, especially in this country as chattel slavery is black Americans.
He's out of line, but he's right.
This is the same woman that when I asked her, did you do any due diligence about what Charlie Kirk said about black people being in segregation and whatnot, how they were better off? She's like, I fact-checked every word. She didn't even fact-check the census, bruh. These people are so deceptive, they're so deceitful, that if you don't know their deception, you'll just have to take it at face value, because that's what they're used to. They're used to, as I say, lineage of evil. This is, as Dr. DeGroy, great book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I advise everyone to read it. But it goes on that, hey, how black Americans have post-traumatic slave syndrome, that many white Americans have post-traumatic slave master syndrome. Damn. And as a slave master, the slave didn't second guess the master. The slave didn't ask questions about the master. The slave didn't ask for reference. The slave couldn't read or write. What was the slave going to, as far as call out the master on? Nothing. So that's the mindset of many of these people. Not all, but many of them that come from a lineage of evil, that's their mindset. So when they are called out for their wickedness, when they're called out for their deceitfulness, just as Jillian was, she didn't know what to say. And then I called her out again. I was like, listen, the fact that you were going to, downplay slavery, but then have a black child that you purchased, that is disgusting. That's contradictory. What? Now, if that got
Damn, but that nigga was hitting hard, but he was cutting deep.
In her feelings, me saying that she purchased a child, but you have to understand, I'm very familiar when many white couples or white people purchase black children. We had a story not too long ago where this couple purchased black children and used them as slaves. So
we did a story. We did that story. It's the streets. We talked about that story. That was very sad.
Yes, 100%. You're going to have to tell me a moment in time where white people or a white majority love black people and they love black children. From what I recall of the history books, y'all were using black children for gator bait. Damn. So forgive me if I have second thoughts when I see a white woman purchase a black child. And she tried to say, well, I had to pay the fees. Boo, you purchased a black child. That's what you did. It just is what it is. Now, I'm not saying that this is child trafficking. I'm just saying that, hey, there was fees attached with you having this child. All right. You can call it money laundering. You can call it whatever you want. I don't care. All right. I'm not saying she did that. I'm just letting you know that it can be very much seen as that, especially from a woman who doesn't even know black history. How you not gonna know black history but have a black child? I know why, because you want to brainwash her. You want to brainwash her just as America has brainwashed many black Americans. You want to brainwash her just as Charlie Kirk gets a whole bunch of Sambo soldiers, okay? So they can go out and brainwash other people. I understand why you want to do that. I get that. So you can say, how can I be racist? I have a black daughter. How can I be racist? My black daughter agrees with me. Your black daughter agrees with you because you probably brainwashed her. I understand the tactics that you do. I understand the evil that you guys have grown accustomed to, that you expect everyone to just accept as normal. And some of us don't accept that as normal. Some of us are going to call you out.
Someone cooked here.
And also, I just want to bring this up. I find it absolutely hysterical that Jillian wanted to say that Charlie Kirk didn't believe in race when literally his verbatim, almost his last words was, is that counting or not counting gang violence, bruh? He very much believed in race. That's why he brought up black women for his DEI. That's why he brought up as far as the great white replacement. How you going to talk about the white replacement if you don't believe in race? Damn. Then we get into Jeffree Star. And I really lost my edge then because I wasn't told that Jeffree Star was going to be on the panel. Jeffree Star just showed up, okay? Never told about Jeffree Star being on the panel. And I was like, I know this can't be the same Jeffree Star that called the N-word and said black women had nappy hair. I know this can't be the same person that you invited on the panel. Now, Piers Morgan, shocker, surprise, didn't know anything about that. This is what I'm talking about. They'll get me on memes, but then bring up Steven Crowder, who made a mockery of George Floyd. Did Piers Morgan ask Steven Crowder about his mockery of George Floyd? No. Bring up anyone throughout the 10 years that the right and many of these right-leaning accounts, whether it's Liberal TikTok, In Wokeness, I'm Yes You Are No, many of these racist accounts constantly berated George Floyd, constantly brought up jokes and memes about George Floyd, constantly lied and said it was a fentanyl overdose, despite us having a courtroom and a verdict okay, that dispelled all of those, did he bring up any of those people and question them, hey, why did you put this meme out? Why do you keep on saying fentanyl overdose when that was proven not to be true? No.
He has a good point there. If you're going to call him out and see, he there's a method to his madness. He has taken on the responsibility to say, hey, right-wing America, I'm going to be a mirror to you. I'm going to be left-wing America. I'm going to get up here. I'm going to be feisty. I'm going to overtalk you. I'm going to I'm going to run these facts down your throat. I'm going to be popular. He's going to pretty much be the Charlie Kirk of the left wing. I'm guessing. I don't know. But he definitely does a good job. I give him that. So we're going to see him in action. But he's letting you know all the guests that they brought up there, the history that he knew on all the guests, and, how he's going to, do his breakdown. And I believe it was really good. So y'all ready to see this?
So I was going to Lions Den. Well, maybe next time y'all need to bring bigger lions.
I'm curious what makes you so curious.
That being said, going back to Jeffree Star, I called that fool out as well. I'm like, listen, you like, why are you here to begin with? You have no say-so over anything. I don't think anybody even knows who this, whatever that thing is. But you best believe there are clips and there are documents of him calling black women nappy-headed and calling N-words. I don't lie. I don't need to lie.
Shut up, you fucking nigger bitch.
These people are no value to me for me to lie on their name. What are we talking about? Now, at the end of the day, do I think that Piers will have me on again, or I think other networks will invite me on? I don't know, bro. It's a coin flip, bro. It's 50-50, to be honest with you, because they can possibly see it as, hey, it's a benefit because of the ratings, but they can also see that as a threat. Because what you have to understand, what they want to present is a big, black, bad boogeyman. That's what they want. So when you have people like me that get on these programs and know the game, bro. I know how to play the game. I know how to phrase things just as well as they do. I know how to, rope-a-dope and all their little, stupid little rhetorical antics. They see that as a threat, okay? So upon having someone be a threat, well, you're not going to have them on other shows, because then they're going to be a threat there. They're going to be a threat there. They're going to be a threat there. And then eventually you get enough white people, some of the white ignorants start waking up. And then you get some of the black people to start waking up. Hey, I ain't got to be a Sambo soldier. Then it becomes a problem. That's what you have to understand. So all honesty, I don't know. I don't know.
All right. So I just wanted him to give a clear, so y'all would know why it is some of these times he's going to kind of snap out.
So many men think they need to complete.
Let's go through this video, man. This is going to be the last video I'm going to go through, even though I got so much stuff I do want to kind of go over. But this is going to be the last video I'm going to kind of go through or whatever. But it's a reaction to him being a guest on Piers Morgan.
These people have Charlie Kirk's blood on their hands. I don't believe there's any reforming these people. I don't believe there's any shaming these people. I think these people need to be defeated.
You've posted some messages about Charlie Kirk on your Instagram, and you're laughing.
If he had spent a modicum of his time focusing on the white youth, that perhaps he would still be with us today.
Charlie was a friend.
So pretty much this dude wants to be the sacrificial lamb. He wants to be the guy that gets up under these people's skin, that gives them the same energy that they give the rest of America.
Mentor of mine, he sat here today and listened to the discussions. I mean, I am just like in total disbelief.
I've been told all week he would have hated someone like you. No, he would have respected me because I'm my own person and I know how to have my own thoughts.
I can't even go to the grocery store alone anymore. I can't even walk my dog without a gun.
President Trump is in the UK for an historic second state visit. The world's most famous royal family is hosting the world's most famous president for a trip that was supposed to be about diplomacy and unity. But they're not really words that anyone's using right now. It's 1 week since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. His alleged killer, Tyler Robinson, had no reaction as he learned he could now face the firing squad.
For the court's information, we did file just recently.
They say this man could be facing the firing squad. They still got the firing squad in Utah.
Within the last few minutes, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty.
Well, prosecutors have released chilling text messages which appear to show that Robinson confessed to the murder to his transgender roommate and boyfriend. I had enough of his hatred, Robinson said. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Everything we know about Robinson so far, from his family's evidence to the messages scrawled on bullets.
More law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action.
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
There is no First Amendment. Why am I telling this to the American Attorney General? There is no First Amendment exception for hate speech, as many guests have reminded me on the show since we launched. You can and should be repulsed by to you on a personal level for the loss of Charlie Kirk, because I watched you on the day it happened.
show tons of times. We did a bunch of Turning Point events together.
So, of course, they're gonna do all this stuff right here, but let's fast forward up here a little bit. Here we go. Let's get to the good part.
It's the host of Games for Girls on Outkick.com, Gillian Michaels, host of Keeping It Real, Brian Shapiro, host of Pushing the Limits, and Lucas Bain, better known as the amazing Lucas. Okay, well, welcome to all of you. Brian Shapiro, I was sickened by what happened to Charlie Kirk. I think we can probably all agree, I hope we can all agree, it was sickening, although I had Destiny on the other night who couldn't bring himself to condemn it because Donald Trump hadn't said the right thing for him, which I think is a lamentable piece of moral cowardice. So let me just start by asking you, I presume you condemn and were horrified by what happened to Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely. I was on the air, Piers, when it all happened. I got emotional. The first thing I thought about were his kids and his family. This is not only bad for Charlie Kirk, obviously, and bad for his family. It's bad for America. And I also feel for everybody that was traumatized, that was there that day, that had to see that. Now, with that being said, of course, I didn't agree with basically anything that Charlie Kirk stands. I've called that out, and I've been very coarse in having political debate. I enjoy doing this show, Piers, and I enjoy ever condone political violence, no matter what side of the aisle it comes from.
Why have so many people on the far left, the woke left, been so brazen in their gleeful celebration of what happened to Charlie Kirk?
Well, my response to that, number one, is I'm not on the far left, so I certainly don't speak for them, but there's people on both sides of the aisle. I know Republicans don't want to hear that, but there are crazy lunatics on both sides of the aisle that celebrate really horrible things that happen to people in America. I don't agree with them. And if you're on the far left or the far right and you celebrate anybody getting murdered, then there's something wrong with you. And I don't feel bad for any of those people that were fired for celebrating his death. I think it's disgusting. Now, if you're just talking about him and saying, well, he wasn't a good guy, here's why I didn't like him, here are some of his quotes that he said in the past, I don't think you should be fired for that. I think there's a way to call out political violence and say Charlie Kirk didn't deserve this. I feel for his family, but I didn't like Charlie Kirk and I didn't like what he stood for. I think you could make both points respectfully.
Exactly. People shouldn't have to be scared to give their opinion like, okay, nah, that was dead wrong. Nobody should have to lose their life about their opinion if that's why he lost his life. We're only assuming that's why he lost his life. But nobody should lose their life, you know, especially in the public like that, in front of their child. No, like that. But we don't have to miss them. We don't have to let's talk. This is the only person in the world we got to talk kindly about. Nobody's saying nothing when people are being disrespectful to all of these dead people. Nobody said it was hate speech when he had his opinions about Martin Luther King. Nobody said it was hate speech when he had his opinion about George Floyd. When he was spreading the pretty much the lie about Trayvon Martin, because he said that Trayvon Martin hunted down George Zimmerman. And George Zimmerman defended himself because Trayvon Martin hunted George Zimmerman down. That's what he said. That's what he said. So, yeah, there could be a lot of people that say, nah, bro, the blatant lies that you was telling, you was a piece of shit. But nobody want to see you, go out like that. Well, I ain't going to say nobody, but, don't act like everybody wanted to see you go out like that.
Okay, Lucas Bean, I've been pointed out to me that you've posted some messages about Charlie Kirk on your Instagram, which we're going to show here. One is a post that's a parody of a Jubilee debate. I'm doing one of these myself soon, titled Charlie Kirk versus Bullet. Can one bullet to the neck outsmart one conservative? Well, that was a short watch.
Damn, that was fucked up. But he wasn't... Hey, now, he was trolling hard because you remember that 20v1? Remember I showed y'all the 20v1? It was called the Jubilee. Can one conservative outsmart 20 liberals? So he remade the meme and said, can Charlie Kirk versus the bullet, can one bullet outsmart a conservative? I ain't gonna lie, that was real tacky. I like the Amazing Lucas, but I don't agree with that. But I understand. I understand what he's trying to prove. He's saying that he's the mirror. I don't agree, but I understand.
Number 2 is a mocked-up promotion poster called Kirk and Twerk at Neck of the Woods.
See, the reason I don't, I don't approve of this because he's picking on the fact of how he got killed. If he would just maybe oh, still fuck that motherfucker, I don't feel sorry for him. That's one thing, but doing the extra about how he got killed. But like I said, I don't agree, but I understand and I see what he's trying to do. I get what he's trying to do.
Hashtag both Charlie Kirk and his widow. And the third.
Now, if what Pam Bondi said, that we're going to go after people for so-called hate speech, and y'all are considering everything that somebody does that you don't like hate speech, and that's what's making you do this overreach, because she said it out her own mouth. Now that this thing happened to Charlie, we're about to really, amp it up, because pretty much they're in their feelings about Charlie. Will this be one of the people that they'll go after?
Third was an image of a sunrise titled "God Works in Mysterious Ways" with the hashtag Charlie Kirk killing and praying hands as an emoji. And you're laughing as I show these. Why do you find this funny?
Well, let me just say that I actually am a big advocate for dark humor. And I happen to have gotten a bit of a taste of that over the last, maybe decade or so when it came to the right and their memes of George Floyd, happy birthday being sober for 5 years. When it came to their memes of Breonna Taylor, when it came to their memes of Trayvon Martin, the Trayvon challenge, right? When it came to their memes of Tamir Rice. So I don't know what the issue is. I think I'm engaging in the freedom of speech that the right has been advocating for these last 10 years and mocking it and making light of Black death, something that Charlie Kirk himself did time and time again. As a matter of fact, I would argue that if Charlie Kirk, instead of focusing his time on Black culture and Black on Black crime, if he had spent a modicum of his time focusing on the white youth, that perhaps he would still be with us today.
Boy, that boy came out. That boy came out busting. Pause. I mean, because that had to be a slap in the face, because he just thought he had him with a gotcha moment. Like he said, how can you laugh about these things and you think a person be like, man, oh, they just jokes, and you could back them in the corner. But that was all facts. A lot of people say, oh, those stoop to they low. They don't mind.
Are you pleased he's dead?
No, absolutely not.
So how did you feel about his murder?
I don't think.
How did you feel about his murder?
How do I feel about his murder?
Yeah.
Well, I think a quote by a great author sums up the sentiment of millions of Americans around the world. And that is, some cause happiness wherever they go, others when they go. And I think that's a sentiment that is palpable amongst many Americans around the world due to the hate and vitriol and bile that Charlie Kirk sowed. So I think there was a passage
just to be clear, unless I misheard you, then you
Sure.
are happy he died.
No, I don't think as far as happiness is an emotion that
you literally just read me a quote which implies you're happy. You talked about some people's death bring happiness.
The purpose of the quote was to say that there are some people who have caused harm and death and turmoil to other groups of people, such as Charlie Kirk, whether it's Black people, whether it's trans people.
No, I heard the quote.
The list
just to be
goes on.
clear, you said that the quote ends in that their death brings happiness, but you've denied that you were happy. And when you tell me a quote
I don't disagree.
When you tell me a quote like that,
are...
I presume from that quote you're implying that actually you are happy he died because he deserved it. He had it coming.
No, not at all. I don't think those are ever words that I've ever mentioned verbatim ever. I think there is a sentiment that when someone who lives their life in evil and wickedness, according to the scripture, the power of life and death is in your tongue.
My bad, y'all. My bad, y'all. I ain't gonna go as far as calling the man wicked and all that stuff like that. I mean, you cannot agree with the man's viewpoints. Yeah, I think he might have some racist views, some of those views that you get only from the good old boys and all that stuff like that. But I don't really want to go as far as calling the man wicked and all that stuff like that. But he did make fun of plenty of dead people. What you heard him say out his own mouth, he doesn't believe in empathy, and he does believe that it is necessary that a couple of people get their muffin cap knocked back blue in order for everybody else to enjoy their gun rights. What's the problem?
The hate and the vile and the venom that he spewed, I don't know what to tell you. As the scripture says, as he professed, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I think his focus should have been on a community that, clearly is in problem. That I find it interesting that there's more scrutiny on people who may make memes that they've done of George Floyd and other black victims than on the white male youth that did this tragedy, as some would call it.
Why would you be offended about the memes to people like George Floyd, which I found contemptible at the time, if they're the same ones that you're talking about? Why would you profess to be offended by those if you're quite happy to do the same kind of thing yourself?
I think the point that I'm making by the memes that I'm putting out, which clearly has caused outrage and triggering, I find it a bit hypocritical that the people for years who said fuck your feelings are now overwhelmed with feelings at the moment. But the point that I was making was to point out the hypocrisy that the right has on a variety and myriad of issues, as we just saw with Pam Bondi on the freedom of speech. I think the issue is that they have scapegoated people like Pam Bondi for what is the crime of Donald Trump. The same thing they did with Anthony Fauci. We saw this when it came to the Second Amendment. They banned bump stock ban. They had a bump stock ban under Donald Trump while they were fear-mongering about Biden taking away your guns. But as we saw, there was no outrage, there was no protest, and we come to find out that it was unconstitutional. So I think this hypocrisy is ubiquitous within the right, and I think my memes expose that hypocrisy.
And what about your own personal humanity?
Oh, man. That's weak. Now you got to try to shame him. What about your humanity? What about your own personal humanity?
I mean, hashtagging his widow in a mocked-up promotion poster of Kirk and Twerk at Neck of the Woods. How do you justify targeting... hang on. How do you justify targeting his widow?
I think that's a bit disingenuous to use such hyperbolic language as targeting. I think it's more of a strategic plan of attack to get the message out to more people. When we saw Erica Kirk...
Boy, that's targeted. Hey, but I like the way this man uses his words, though, man. I like the way he uses words. But that's targeted. Hey.
She had a moment to speak for unity within the country, left and right, and she chose to fundraise. She then chose to use the scripture and talk, very nicely of her, past husband. And I understand that. But by that same token, there are people who were absolutely harmed by the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk put out, and that rhetoric actually codified in many cases in many states. So I think it's abhorrent and actually perverse to expect people who are harmed by his rhetoric, harmed by someone who had anti-black, anyone who wasn't white and Christian in his perspective. I think it's perverse to try and criticize those people or try and make them seem as if they're the bad guys when that's
but you see, funny enough, I can look at what you've done and I can see somebody who is abhorrent and despicable and actually evil. Actually, the stuff when you target someone's widow as she grieves and tries to protect her two children.
Targeting.
No, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me personally. My view of what you've done. I don't care about your motivation in terms of other people's inappropriate memes, many of which I may well agree with you about. But that doesn't mean that I then go and do it myself or worse, because that makes me even more inhuman and abhorrent. And by your definition,
I disagree. I think
evil. I know you disagree. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I know. I'm just telling you. I know. Hang on.
They have to see.
I've let you have your say.
I'm a mirror.
I've let you have your say.
What they have shown.
And there you have it. They don't like the mirror. They don't like the man in the mirror. Obviously. Yeah. All the stuff they've done when it comes to the Trayvon Martin and all that stuff, they don't like when they don't like the man in the mirror, obviously. But anyway, man, I'm not gonna hold y'all up too much tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. I think I'm gonna do a part 3, and I'll just come back to a lot of this stuff that we're gonna talk about with the censoring and everything. Like I said, I got a lot of things to go over, but as far as right now, we're going to just wrap this up and stop right here. When we continue on, we'll continue on with some more of this debate. There's a little bit more of it, and there's some other videos that I'll probably go over. So I don't think this Charlie Kirk censoring is going to go anywhere. It's actually going to expand. If you ask me, it's going to keep going. So we got plenty of time to talk about it. I'll be back with it. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button on y'all way out. And I'm going to get out y'all area.